This is Winging It, the somewhat whimsical, certainly whirring, decidedly wonky, seldom weighty, endlessly well-intentioned, and wildly witty show about music where one knows what's coming and the other doesn't. Now, this happens in between both proper to ensure you can spend anywhere from 15 to about 180 minutes with us every week. So now you're wondering, and, rightly so, what are we going to be talking about? Because, of course, David has no idea because this is the best kept secret in and out of Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And this time, are you ready?
My mind is a blank slate, and I am prepared to be led by the nose, where'er thou wouldst lead.
Well, I will lead you to famous cases of opening bands that stole the show.
Oh, my goodness, a great one.
There are so many.
Oh, yeah.
But
I know who's going to be in there, but continue, please.
Oh, well, no, do tell me who you think.
There's zero question that Kiss is going to be in there, but go ahead.
Okay, interesting. Led Zeppelin opening for Iron Butterfly and Vanilla Fudge 1968 and 1969. So after announcing themselves to the world on their very first official gig at Surrey Universal on October 15th, 1968, members of Led Zeppelin received an offer they couldn't have even dreamed of. A year's worth of touring the U.S., and they did. However, the headliners realized what they were dealing with after just a few dates. Led Zeppelin would whip the audience into such a frenzy that nothing the other bands could do could really live up to the opening experience. Wow. Eventually, even causing Iron Butterfly and Company to stop showing up for their own gigs. And Led Zeppelin became the unofficial main act for the remainder of the tour.
Wow. That's pretty heavy. I mean, if I were an Iron Butterfly or Vanilla Fudge fan, I would stick around no matter what Led Zeppelin did, and be enthusiastic about it. But I have seen some opening bands that just kind of blow you away, and you don't want to be anybody and have Led Zeppelin opening for you, not really.
No, I don't want to do that. But I mean, I'm sorry, for you to stop showing up at your own show, just imagine.
These were, and getting to come to the States, these were such kids. You have no idea. These were like 19, 20-year-old kids, I mean, this was more than 50 years ago. I mean, they were absolute kids. And they're like, wow, I remember Robert Plant saying, first, I went to America, and it was the first time I ever saw a cop with a gun. I mean, it's just like, they were so young and so green. But man, they conquered,
They probably had a lot of egos, too, so it's hard for your ego to take, I'm headlining this tour, and the band that's opening for me is completely just demolishing it, and they have the audience in the palm of their hands, and when they're done, we feel like we can't even play.
Get it up. I mean, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally true, and that's fucking brutal.
And I did not think of them, because I know they didn't open many times before it became apparent there was no way they had a headline.
Yes.
This is why I don't associate them with that as I do other acts, but that's good to know. That was news to me, kind of.
Very interesting, and I can't imagine, thinking that you're the shit, and then the actual shit opens for you. I don't know.
I'm telling you.
I don't know. AC/DC opening for Rainbow in 1978.
Yeah, it seemed like Rainbow certainly could hold their own with AC/DC.
Now, you'd think that, but that's why I wanted to do some of these, because I just don't see it, because you know how I feel about AC/DC.
Yeah.
So it was AC/DC's simple, gut-felt magic against Blackmore's sophisticated sorcery. Apparently, the audiences couldn't get enough of their sheer simple rock, so much so that the Rainbow bassist, Rob Daisley, thought Ritchie Blackmore might even be feeling threatened a bit. He remembers, well, maybe Ritchie felt a little threatened or something, I don't know, because it used to always go down well. It was only a few shows that they did with us where they opened for us, so apparently, this one, again, even though Rainbow is a powerhouse, they're an amazing band, really nothing at all like AC/DC. You would think this would be a nice appetizer, a little hors d'oeuvre, cute hors d'oeuvre that's got like 2 or 3 chords, and we're going to move on. And apparently, as we know, there's something about AC/DC that grabs people, and they were upstage in Rainbow.
And that is shocking, because AC/DC is very limited in scope. It is basically an hors d'oeuvre.
Yes.
And you eat the hors d'oeuvre so many times, and you want a little variety in your meal. You want a few more courses or something.
That's right.
I think it's weird the hold AC/DC has over some people. I mean, I do really get into them sometimes. I got to tell you, I did.
But you're not going to choose them over Rainbow.
No, I'm not going to choose them over almost anybody, but they are awfully good. If they were opening up, in fact, I did see AC/DC opening up for Rush. Believe me, they were good. Please. They impressed me. But when Rush came on, I forgot AC/DC existed.
Of course.
And I was totally spellbound by Rush. So so it would have been the same thing with Rainbow.
Yes.
But no, I don't get that at all. You know.
I don't get that either. I don't know how that happened, except...
And that was news to me, yeah.
Sometimes, and here's the thing. I would imagine that a Rainbow audience, you're going to hear something much more complex than AC/DC.
Yeah.
So maybe while you're hungry for that, when you hear something that is so stripped down and so kind of raw and in your face and easy, like ABC rock.
Way accessible.
Yeah, you go,
but I mean,
oh yeah, this is good. And not that you don't get into Rainbow, but maybe you're almost a little let down by the complexity, because sometimes it is thinker music, which I like that kind of music, of course. Yeah. But interesting. I would have liked to have been in the audience to see what that looked like, that dynamic.
Yeah, I certainly wasn't feeling it myself when Rush came on, and I was like, AC/DC, wow, they impressed me. They did. I really enjoyed them. I'd been hearing about them, hadn't heard much of their stuff until that night. But, I was not let down at all when Rush came on. I was not thinking, let's bring the other guys back. No, great as they were, it was their time, and they were gone, and so...
You mean adorable as they were?
Adorable as they were. Oh, I thought of another one, too, that I'll bet is coming up, too.
Okay, say it. And
Kiss was one, Van Halen was another.
Interesting.
Yes, but interesting, but no reveals here. Poker Face, we're going to keep on going and see if they come up.
So are you talking about Van Halen opening for Black Sabbath in 1978?
I'm talking about Van Halen opening for anybody, but yeah, Black Sabbath possibly. But opening as an opening act, they generally aren't that in favor because they're too damn exciting,
So needless to say, things were looking very bad for Black Sabbath toward the end of the 1970s, and the fact that a lot of people thought Never Say Die was the most disappointing Black Sabbath album to that point didn't make things any better.
Madness.
After having already gone through an unpleasant experience of being upstaged by an opening act, the Brummy Four were looking for someone innocuous. And they thought, Sabbath had done a tour for a year with Kiss as the four band and had nearly killed him, Ozzy, because Kiss had been so good. These aren't my words. Yep. And Ozzy said, "We're never doing that again. Next tour, we just want a bar band from LA. That's all we want." Cents available. Much to everyone's surprise, the bar band from LA turned out to be Van Halen, with their debut album fresh off the printing press, having a deeply dysfunctional Sabbath on the brink of collapse, and then the fresh-faced Van Halen with all the drive of the debut album gone well seems most unfair, but that's how life goes. So basically, Black Sabbath, the powerhouse that they are, without freaking Ozzy. I don't like Ozzy. Van Halen stole the show.
Yeah, I remember that tour, and I allowed myself to get talked out of a ticket for it. I did have one.
But can't even.
I know, so I never saw Van Halen as a result.
Oh, God.
But I was in school when Van Halen came out, and we loved them, of course, and we'd love to have seen that show. I understand Sabbath was having problems. I love the Never Say Die album. I don't get the madness that that's a disappointing album. I love it, as any real fan does.
Oh,
he
no.
snobbishly throws.
Oh no, I went ahead and put "real fan" in air quotes.
Your real fan knows. Well, Never Say Die is a great record, as is Technical Ecstasy. But yeah, I hear they were kind of imploding on themselves, and Ozzy was in and out, and all this stuff was going on. But Van Halen was on fire. Not to drop the name of one of their songs, they were just crazy. And the energy, and that's not a good opening act either, because Sabbath, as heavy as they hit, they're a little bit slower.
Yes.
And Van Halen gets going with this breakneck tempo and this guitar like you never heard in your life before.
And then the front man
Dave
from just
and the rhythm section, Alex and Michael, it was insanity.
It's just an incredible band. There's
the
no way.
I wouldn't want them on before me either, although like I said, I've been to see Sabbath with an opening act that was pretty damn impressive called Aerosmith, but when it was Sabbath's time, I was all in, but I guess things work differently in the, bands fall out of favor, and doesn't take much to have somebody eclipse them, I suppose.
Well, yeah, I think that's true, and just imagine, though, again, fresh-faced kids with all of the ambition and talent and, just energy and excitement and testosterone, and just that they just had command of their instruments, and then Dave was just this charismatic, incredible frontman. There's no way Ozzy could compete. No way. It just was completely apples and oranges, which is usually, I hate that about opening bands, that they're apples and oranges, but then they don't upstage the main course, right?
Yeah. Speaking of Dave and speaking of Van Halen, David Lee Roth was on the final Kiss tour until he got booted off and everything. Now they don't want to be on stage. They don't want to have. In a way, I almost understand. They have a freaking painter coming on before them. That's their opening act, as a painter. I swear, he comes out and paints on the fucking stage, and then Kiss comes on. But there's something to that. If you're older and you think your fans are older, you put on an exciting band for them. They use up half their energy, hooping and hollering and clapping and screaming and everything, and then you come on and they're ready for a nap and a bowl of Wheaties and stuff. So you don't want to have them use their energy up on an opening act. You want to come in and wow them after some dull painting thing, and then and go. And I kind of get where they're coming from. A lot of bands don't have opening acts when they get really big. Queen
I don't think you have to.
Zeppelin didn't. No, you just don't.
I don't know why you'd have a painter on. That sounds really lame.
That's pretty lame. It's better just to not have an opening act.
Maybe don't have one. Just show up and do your thing. It's very strange, but I'm not surprised by that. Here's another one, and again, it involves one of the same players, and again, I cannot say enough how much I do not like this player, but Metallica opening for Ozzy Osbourne in 1986.
That's sad. Okay, that's sad.
After releasing Master of Puppets on March 3rd, 1986, Metallica knew they were onto something, and they were eager to share it with fans as soon as possible. As a result, they joined Ozzy Osbourne's promotional tour for The Ultimate Sin. Almost as soon as their album hit the shelves, they'd go on to open for the Prince of Darkness during the next 6 months. And while Ultimate Sin did end up being Ozzy's highest charting album at the time, it was hardly a match for Metallica's most iconic lineup at its prime. Hello. So here is what our Lord and Savior Jake E. Lee, is, as they put it, would leave Ozzy's band after the tour. He reminisced about Metallica's performances during an interview. They were heavy as shit. They were angry. There was nothing polished or pretty about them. I thought that was awesome, especially that Ultimate Sin tour. So there is something to be said for that rawness, that kind of gung-ho, we're going for it, And I think it's palpable. People can feel it, and it just kind of eclipses the shit show that's about to come on that is Ozzy Osbourne, which maybe you got free tickets or you're there for charity. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, is it your good deed for the year? I don't know why you would go to this in 1986, but thank God Metallica was there, because then it saved that money that you may have spent, or, that charity moment.
You got more bang for your buck with the opening act on that one. I've never quite understood. Ozzy's solo stuff just doesn't really do it for me that much.
Much?
I mean, it's okay.
We've got.
I mean, it's all right, and that's it. It's not great. Him and Sabbath, okay, because he's doing Butler and Iommi's songs, and contributing whatever. But I mean,
the band, yes, Ozzy, we don't need him.
Yeah, but Metallica, I know it's. I seem to have been everywhere, popping up all over the place.
Seriously, what the fuck?
I saw Metallica on the Master of Puppets tour.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, I must have told you that.
You did not tell me that.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so here I am, security guard, right? I get sent, sometimes you get sent to these random things that just pop up. I was sent to a theater in Port Jervis, New Jersey, to watch an alcohol-free show, so all the minors got to come in, and everybody really went ape shit. In fact, one of the bands said that, He said, I love the dry shows because they let all the kids in and everybody goes fucking wild, and it's true. At a theater, and there were 3 bands. It was Overkill, Anti was on, then Overkill, and I thought Overkill was great, and the singer came out and I said, dude, you were so good. Here I am getting paid to watch Metallica, And he says, you were so good. And he said, if you think we're good, wait till you see Metallica. And I hadn't heard them before this. And they were amazing. I mean, this was Cliff Burton. This was the original Metallica. Amazing show. They just blew me away. So, yeah, I actually did see that. They're too good to open for anybody, honestly.
Thank you.
Especially Ozzy. I mean, they're on their worst day, I'll take them over him. So it's unfortunate. You want to help bands out and stuff or whatever, but again, if I were an Ozzy fan, really big into him, and I'm not, I would have loved Metallica and then stuck around and been just as enthused. It's a little bit of a mismatch because they're much heavier than he is, honestly. And they're both heavy, though. But they're much faster, much more aggressive, and especially at that time, they were so insane. Yes, I saw, and I knew what poor Ozzy was up against.
Well, yeah, I mean, holy shit that you got to see that tour. I don't even know what to say about that. I just am so envious of all. I mean, I'm happy you got to see him, but I fucking wish I could have seen all the shows you've seen. Holy shit.
They didn't even have to pay me, but they did,
I mean, yeah, you're like, I'd like you to keep my pay because I got to see Metallica. But any band is going to upstage Ozzy Osbourne. I'm sorry, but
not
this
that hard.
Band,
maybe even AC/DC.
Yeah, I might be like, okay. I think here's the thing: if you go to an Ozzy, again, charity, gifts, whatever, poorly chosen, selected gifts that people give you.
Bad raffle.
Yes, exactly.
Raffle gone wrong.
That's right. Tickets to this show, right? Gun to your head. If you don't go to the show, I'll kill you. That kind of thing. Maybe, when you hear Metallica, then you go, oh my God, this guy sucks. You know what I mean? After you hear that raw just power and, like he said, anger and just, I don't know, balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Then you get the dulcet, sad, pathetic tones of, not really dulcet at all, but, dull is what I meant.
And further on in their career, the total inferiority of Ozzy would become even more apparent because they started doing more ballady stuff, which they're extremely good at.
Oh, gosh.
Nothing Else Matters.
Oh, my God.
And songs like that.
Which Elton John says is one of the best songs ever written.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely incredible.
Elton John says that. Like, I guess James Hetfield cried when he heard that. I would. I
know an indie artist, harpist, who plays at weddings and records and stuff like that, who's covered that beautifully. It's just that kind of song. It has a melody that she plays on the harp, and it's that kind of song. So that makes Ozzy look even worse, honestly, because he does the ballads, and they really weren't into that at the time. They were proggy and really thrashy. But they even got more and more afield, and they upstaged him even more. So,
yeah.
But even back then, they were too hot to handle.
And Ozzy Osbourne always sucked, so that's good.
Yeah. Well.
So the last show we're going to talk about is, and this one's going to get you. I'm waiting for your response to this. Is 9 Inch Nails opening for David Bowie in 1995?
Oh well, I mean, I sort of appreciate 9 Inch Nails.
In 1995.
In 1995, yeah. I mean, I know they come on strong. They're really. I mean, there's a lot of experimental similarities between the two and everything, and they seem kind of like they almost fit together, except for 9 Inch Nails tends to really enthrall an audience, and that's I can kind of see it with Bowie, and Bowie is the best, but I wouldn't think that would be a problem, but apparently it was. So.
Well, at the time, 9 Inch Nails were riding the massive waves of popularity caused by their 1994 masterpiece and still the most well-known, The Downward Spiral. While Bowie, although a living legend with inexhaustible creativity, as they say, still lacked the aura of freshness, right?
Yeah.
That he had. And he was aware of it. And Bowie said, I personally did like the combination of 9 Inch Nails and me, but fans didn't. Bad luck. It was also an extremely young audience, about 12 to 17 years old. My starting point was simply, I've just made an adventurous album. What can I do now to turn the concert as adventurous as possible? Looking at it that way, it seemed logical to confront myself with 9 Inch Nail audience. I knew it would be hard to captivate them by music they never heard, by an artist whose name they were only sort of familiar with. So apparently he knew he was being upstaged by 9 Inch Nails, and I think it makes sense. And it's not that Bowie isn't brilliant, but what year did I say that was? 1995 Bowie? Not the same Bowie you're thinking.
Yeah.
So I think...
Yeah, this was the Black Tie, White Noise.
Right. Which isn't bad,
which
but it's...
still don't quite get. But
yeah, I think a lot of Bowie fans don't quite get this.
I try like
several years.
I try like every year.
I know you do. You literally do. So I can see that. I mean... And The Downward Spiral, though, is just hypnotic. It's just a crazy album. But here, it's not just we're saying, that they're upstaging him. Bowie's saying, yeah, it was tough. It was a tough crowd. And again, I like that Bowie did that because, like you said, he was like, I want to bring out new artists. I want to support, new art. He had always been that way. So what a great opportunity for 9 Inch Nails. But
it's a great opportunity for 9 Inch Nails. And honestly, it's a brilliant, I don't want to call it, to make it as crass sounding as a marketing ploy, but as Walter White would say, I admire the strategy.
True.
I mean, I see what Bowie was going for here. He said, I want to get my music into the hands or into the minds of each and every kid with a head like a hole. So, yeah.
Oh, God.
No. What?
What'd I say?
Yeah, what'd I say?
Oh, no. Well,
I know he'd rather die than give them control, but,
oh, God.
Sorry.
Groan. But funny.
Well, I mean, it makes more sense than I remember one time Bowie toured with Queen Latifah. I didn't get that at all.
What the fuck?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Queen Latifah,
She did if they did, and I have no idea. She did not upstage him, I can tell you.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen.
She did not.
That
but
ain't going to happen.
I do think some of these were the cases where that did happen. I'm not sure that I agree with all of them, specifically the AC/DC one. But you know what? You never know. And I still do think that opening acts are two things. One, they're a great opportunity. And two, they're the worst fucking thing to happen to concerts because I don't want to listen to an opening act. I want the band. I want to give a fuck. And I'm going to go buy a t-shirt. I'm going to go get my drink. I don't care. I'm not going to remember you once I walk away, with the exception of No Doubt.
Yes.
And the Sugar Cubes, which is Bjork.
That's right. It is Bjork. That's right. Now, I usually pay attention to the opening act very closely. However, I don't want there to be like four of them. I want one band and then my group, and I'll listen to you guys, but I want my group next. I don't want to listen to half a dozen bands unless it's a big concert like the one Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush, Journey.
That's different.
Ted Nugent and Aerosmith. That's different. That's four, big acts. But, I mean, there have been some incredible openings. It's a great opportunity for them, but it's also a great opportunity it's a good opportunity for them because they have fans who go batshit over them like I did in the case of Aerosmith. They were opening and then they were headlining the next year.
Right, but here's the thing. And I agree with you, most of the opening acts that I've seen have nothing to do or nothing in common with the artist I'm going to see. And that's where the mistake is. If you want to fan share, if you say, I am X type of band, here is an X type of artist opening, because you like us, I think you will like this band. That's not what happens.
Yeah, I'm more into the sort of an eHarmony approach.
Thank you. I like that. We match on 18 levels.
Yeah, not into the opposites attract thing. I never really bought that. Okay, that's crap.
The problem. Yeah. That's where I have the problem. If you're going to have an opening act, just give me an appetizer that you know I'm going to like.
Yeah, I know. Let's have Rage Against the Machine and Arlo Guthrie. Yeah, that's a good match right there. I mean,
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, I mean, totally incongruities.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. You can't fan share. Just like when we play gigs, I'm like, so who are the bands? Oh, we don't want to play with Americana because we're not Americana, and we don't want them to play with us because we can't fan share. People are going to be like, I'm here to see rock. I'm here to see Americana, and they're going to be fucking disappointed if they hear Ascent if they're there to see Americana.
That's right. I mean, sure, you'll have your crossover fans and everything,
maybe.
But it's not right to expect it.
It's not.
It's not right to expect it.
Especially when they're paying that much.
Yeah,
give me somebody that that's palatable to me.
Yeah.
That is going to be palatable. That's where my issue is. But I have no issue with opening acts. I just wish they made sense more.
Kiss was reviled as an opening act because they kept upstaging everybody, as you said. And the Tubes also, but they did open for one band that I'm sure there was no concern about that with. That would be Led Zeppelin. So it's like, okay, you do your Tubes thing, and you're not going to upstage Led Zeppelin no matter what the fuck you do.
Yeah, it's just the antics on stage of those two and their stage show. It's not that their music was better. It's just this crazy, insane stage show that both of those bands do. I mean, you can't compete with, what is like Gene Simmons, like 300 feet tall on stage with this makeup and this like outfit and these boots that are the tallest boots you've ever seen, and he's breathing fire. I don't I don't know how you can't look at a spectacle like that. I mean, and that you're going to be like, oh, and then you're just standing on stage singing. Can you do something?
and the energy was nuts too.
Of course.
In addition, so yeah.
And then they have that anger too. That like, that thing. You can feel it.
Yeah,
you can feel it.
There was a real hunger in the early Kiss music
for sure. I mean, every band that's brand new, there's that hunger there, or the first couple albums. And hopefully it doesn't peter out. But the industry is really tough. It's always been tough. So,
debut albums are always interesting. I mean, sometimes you get a debut like Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. And you go like, this is your defining work.
Oh, my God.
And sometimes you get one that people think it knocks people on their socks, but it's no way an indication of what you're going to do later on, like Led Zeppelin's first album.
Yeah, you're like...
Everybody went, oh, wow, this is unbelievable. No, you ain't heard nothing yet.
Just wait.
Keep listening.
Just wait.
And the next one, you're going to go, shit, what is this, And
then tragedy, and then it's over.
And sometimes it's the first, and then the rest is no great shakes. But I never take away from that one record. If you did one song that I absolutely love, you're golden with me, even if it's Drek, the rest of these stuff you put
Which makes me so happy because Ascent is safe because there's at least one song he likes, so thank God.
Ascent is their record is chock full of gems, and I'm talking about Evolution of Sorrow, Bleed Like Us, which you can obtain. is just one. It's all killer, no filler. This record.
Oh well, thank you. I appreciate that. But that we were grandfathered in regardless. He's required to say these things because of his rule that if you have one thing he likes, he's in.
And I'm required to go to the show this week. I just have to. It's been so long. I'm so eager to go see Ascent again. I have to say
it'll be amazing to have you there. It'll be amazing to perform for you. It'll be wonderful.
I'll be there with my cane propped up in the corner.
Hell yeah, and your ring, of course. I hope.
No, I meant propped up so because I can't move. So because I'm 60 now. So.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. That's right. I'm sorry. Am I speaking loud enough?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, good.
I've got a special device.
Just checking. Okay. Well, now that we've exhausted this topic, I think a good chat and a very interesting topic, I guess that only leaves for you to say,
let's fly this coop.
This has been Birds of a Feather on What the Flock Radio.